Welcome to RPG Book Club, a podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I'm Sam.
I'm Bernard.
And I'm Trish.
And today we'll be continuing our playthrough of Lufia II, Rise of the Sinistrals, covering up until we hear about Agurio being destroyed. But before we get to all of that, how was everyone's week and or 3 weeks?
So, I've had a hell of a month. I had what appeared to be viral meningitis, which gave me the worst headache I've ever had. And it lasted like 2 weeks. And then right at the end of that, I got a scratch on my eye, a corneal abrasion, if you will. And I've had that going for like 2 weeks. The medical websites say a corneal abrasion should heal in like 24 to 48 hours. But I did find some people on Reddit that were like, yeah, my corneal abrasion took like 3 weeks to heal. And it has been getting better, so I'm not worried. It's just annoying. And it's finally gotten better enough that I can look at a screen long enough to play a video game. So I'm back to talk about Lufia. Going out, I missed y'all too. I missed talking about Lufia. My symptoms of the corneal abrasion are my vision in my left eye is a little blurry, and my eyes hurt from bright light. Going outside when it's sunny is still bad. I actually bought a pair of sunglasses that goes over your glasses, so I can put them over my sunglasses. Mm-hmm. So I get a double layer, and it's still not great, but I can survive.
That sounds rough.
It's been a time.
Yeah. Has your new job been cool about everything? Since I know you were like a week in when this all started.
Yes, actually. So my new job is facilitating these deliveries to like offices and schools and stuff. But it's a brand new operation. And luckily, the start date for the deliveries kept getting pushed back. Oh. So I haven't actually had to go to the warehouse and make deliveries and stuff. There's actually been very little for me to do, which, thank God. I still have had to do a few things. Like there's lots of background checks and security stuff that we have to go through for these places. But luckily, I haven't had to do much. But I'm still getting paid.
Oh, nice.
So next week, gonna have more to do, but like my eyes are good enough now that I can survive that.
What about you, Trish? How's your only 1 week been?
Let's see. It's been pretty good. I've been having a lovely time. Still visiting my partner here in the Philadelphia area, who's sitting right beside me. At her own computer. We are doing great. We went and saw the Sailor Moon live show. It was a lot of fun. It despite being called Sailor Moon the Super Live, it actually was just a adaptation of the first season. Mm-hmm. Which means it had way too much Tuxedo Mask / Mamoru for my taste, but otherwise it was very fun and very good. The songs were very good. Unfortunately, we have since discovered that the version we saw is a like new version of the musical, and it's doing this tour across America is like part of their like first testing it out. It has a bunch of new songs and stuff, and so a lot of the songs we like are not available in anywhere online.
Dang,
it sucks, but it was very fun. We had a great time, and then also I talked about this a little bit with Bernard.
But wait, before you move on from the Sailor Moon thing, that's the one that has subtitles for a stage show, correct? How did that work?
I was about to ask if it was in Japanese.
It was in Japanese with subtitles for the stage show. So they were up, like they were performing on a stage, and then on the back of the stage was a screen, and they put up the subtitles there. They also put up like visual sequences. Like when they did the opening theme song, they had some of the visuals of the opening theme song up there for it, which was incredible. Like there's so many fun ways they used it. The problem was, me and my girlfriend were only able to get tickets up in the nosebleeds, and from the angle we're at, the top quarter or so of that screen was hidden, so there are points where the subtitles were high enough that we couldn't see them,
Oh dear.
which kind of sucked. But it was fine. Like, the lyrics were not always super necessary. It was fine. We had a fun
Yeah, I mean,
time.
you already know the outline of
Yes.
the story, and
Yes, exactly.
yeah, I've seen a couple live shows with subtitles. I saw in Toronto, I saw a play that was in French, and they had English subtitles for the people who don't speak French. And I also, at some point, I think I saw an opera that was like in Italian, and they had subtitles.
That's really cool.
Yeah, because at the movie theater, when we would have subtitles for people who are hard of hearing, we had a like a machine on like a bendable arm that you could like put in your cup holder, and it goes like right in your peripherals that would have the subtitles on it. So I didn't
I've
know
heard
how they
that
were
sucks.
Yeah, it sucks pretty bad. Its viewing angles are garbage, and
Yeah,
because they don't want it to shine at your person next to you, which means it doesn't shine at you.
I've seen deaf and hard of hearing people on social media be like, "Yeah, I really wish they would just have more showings with subtitles on the screen
Mm-hmm.
instead of using that thing."
Yeah. But yeah, so that was fun. We had a great time. We rode like I don't know, the speedway is, I think, what, or the speed rail is what my partner called it, into Philly, and got to like walk around Philly for a little bit. It was neat. Doing that, as I was telling Bernard on the post show we did a couple days ago, my partner's also been taking me through the Sly Cooper games because I've never played them before because I was a Nintendo kid growing up. And I'm in the middle of Sly 2 now, which is a lot better. Oh, sorry, the Speed Line. My partner is holding up her phone to show me. But yeah, so we're she's taking me through Sly 2 at the moment. And I did have one of my favorite things to happen when I'm going through a game because it's just so funny. Oh, she's already pounding and crossing her arms. We're getting to a section. She's like, "Okay, you gotta prepare yourself. This section's gonna suck. This is gonna be really rough. You're not gonna like this." Yeah, so it's a section with tank controls. You're literally controlling a tank, and my partner's been warning me about it. And I get to it, and I just kind of clear it very easily and very simply, and it's not that
Nice.
hard for me. And she's still pouty about it. And I just think there is something very special to taking someone you love through a game and getting to a part that kills you and you hate, and they're like fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just delightful.
Yeah,
I remember Maddie Grace watching me play Metal Gear Solid, I think for the first time, and she was always baffled by I would get to really hard sections and just sort of stumble my way through them and do really stupid shit, but it would work, and it made her mad.
Yeah. So that's been really fun, and then we've also been watching Lost still because I'm taking her through Lost, and we're in season 3. And yeah, I'm just sitting here excitedly knowing all the secrets. And
All the
her
secrets
throw
that get answers, at least.
yeah, with her throwing questions at me constantly and me playing the She's literally pulling up the Frodo, "Fine, keep your secrets" gif at me right now. What about you, Sam? What have you been up to?
So speaking of taking people through things that you like and television shows, I've been taking my partner through Stargate. So Trish set the Stargate timer so that I don't talk about it for hours again.
Okay.
But so we're making our way, and we're only on the second proper episode of SG1. We have been watching like 2 or 3 episodes a week, or 2 or 3 episodes worth of time, because there's 3 movies is what we started with, and so they're longer. But we hadn't watched in the last couple of weeks. So we get to The Enemy Within, season 1, episode 3, but episode 1 and 2 are a 2-parter that have a movie cut, so that doesn't count. Second episode. That was a lot of useless words. Anyways, that whole episode is a character study on one of the characters from the movie, and it follows him as he goes through the worst day and coincidentally last day of his life. And it is like kind of weird how this they didn't just write him out like they would have if they only could get, say, Jack O'Neill from the movie, and they had to make up brand new people. But the fact that he was there for 3 episodes ostensibly is kind of weird. So I looked it up, and what had happened is the actor from the movie signed on, but knew that he was busy, so he wouldn't be able to commit to a series. So he just committed to 3 episodes. So they wrote 3 episodes with him to have a big character moment, way to go, to then basically to fridge him to make Jack's character have a change of heart and go through his storyline stuff. But then when it got time to shoot, the actor couldn't make it, and the new actor, everybody on set loved, and everybody loves his portrayal and wishes that they didn't already have written and produced 3 scripts at the end of which he's dead. And so it was just very funny. It's like this character, they brought him back, and it's a new actor, but his stories all have the weight of if it's this is a movie star we only get for a couple of episodes, and it's just a very odd situation. But that episode,
and there's not any TNG style stuff where they find reasons to bring back Nadise Crosby.
They bring him back for a very TNG thing. They end up in an alternate reality where they never found the Stargate, and so the Jack's Air Force partner is Kowalski again, and it's like, okay, they do manage to bring him back, but not nearly as often as Tasha Yar comes back after quote unquote dying.
Wasn't there something where she came back and was a Romulan now?
Yes, so that was her illegitimate daughter from a... I don't want to get into it because it's honestly pretty yucky. But yeah, that's a thing they did. But she wasn't Tasha Yar. She was Tasha Yar's daughter.
Yeah.
TNG is wild.
TNG's wild.
I'm sure Stargate is wild too, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, same. But what you said about that did remind me of a hilarious nega example to what you just brought up, Sam, which was in, as I said, we're watching Lost, and there's a certain character who my partner's like, wow, this guy's my favorite. He's the best dude here. I love him so much. And I'm just sitting here going, he dies at the start of season 3. And it is a similar case of there are reasons he gets killed off that are actor related, but in this case it was he didn't want to film in Hawaii anymore. He was tired of being in Hawaii, and so they wrote his character off.
Who gets tired of being in Hawaii? What the fuck?
He's a Londoner. He wanted to be back in London.
You want to go to London over Hawaii?
I know. It feels utterly crazy to me. But yeah, and then some of us, we had to say goodbye to a fan favorite character. And you could seriously, when you look at the rest of the show, kind of feel because at that point they'd already fairly much planned out everything they were going to do later on. And you can see the holes of the story where they had to plug in other characters to fit this character's role. And it's just God damn.
Yeah, the end of season 1 of The Wheel of Time is like that, and it's especially obvious because they're adapting a book that I've read. So they get to the end, and then suddenly Perrin is doing all of these things. I'm like, it's literally in the prophecy that Matt has to do these things, but whatever. I get it. The actor just quit after 7 episodes. It's fine.
It's so funny with stuff like that, and then also stuff where they have to, if you're adapting something, you bring in characters into stuff they weren't involved with, because in television, if someone's a main actor in a thing, they need to be in so many episodes per season because you're paying them for that. And so you have to think of things for them to do because they have to be on screen at least a little bit.
Yeah, it's funny going from Star Trek, the original series, to TNG, because in the original series, there will be so many episodes where the only, named characters are Kirk, Spock, and Bones. But in TNG, they have this huge cast, and all of them are in every episode. They gotta find something for them to do.
We gotta walk by Data. Data's gonna be doing a silly thing.
Yep.
Man, sci-fi television is so good.
It is. I love it.
It in a way that other, and I don't think it's just related to genre. I think it's something about the you have to kind of be a little campy, even on ones that are super serious. There has to be some campy bits, and
of course,
it just it just like rubs some of the edges off, and it just makes for very good television. And I like it a lot. You know what else I like a lot?
You know what else is a
Me
little
too.
campy?
What I really liked is last week's part of Lufia, which is all that I played for this week. I got halfway through this week's stuff. I'm almost caught up. But you would think having a month off, I would do it. But I still had video games to play each week, and none of them were Lufia.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about what I did play and then what everyone else played more of after this brief break.
So after the defeat of Vidura and the death of Dakar, the party is filled with determination to continue their journey to defeat the Sinistrals. And if I recall correctly, some people in the town that they're in mentioned the city of Treadle to the east, so we're like, yeah, we might as well go there. Treadle is a port town, and hey, a boat would be pretty useful on our JRPG quest. You have to speak to one specific NPC to hear that there's a ship for sale by someone named Lexus Shaya. We recognize that name as the ancestor of the inventor from the first game. However, Lexus is not in town, so we have to go to his weird underground laboratory nearby. And there's some dumb traps that we have to navigate, but we get through pretty easy. Maxim makes introductions and says they want to buy his ship. Lexus says he's selling the ship to fund his work and shows the party his invention, the engine. With it, a ship can move without wind. Whoa!
Incredible.
The party does not believe him. He activates the engine and it explodes. Salon's like, I don't trust this guy. Let's just ask Jayad to build us a ship. Lexus is excited to hear about Jayad making ships again, and apparently Jayad had been like, I'm not going to make ships until I get this special wood, which was the wood we helped him get. I guess that wood just lasts indefinitely because he already made a ship out of it. I guess it's a lot of wood.
It was a really big tree. It was like 6 squares by 6 squares. That's a lot. It's like bigger than most houses.
Lexus asks the party why they need a ship, and Maxim says they're warriors on a quest to defeat some terrible enemies. He asks if the enemies have anything to do with the one who destroyed Gordovan and tried to sink Parcelite. He knows all about this because his chimograph moved. We all know a chimograph is a device which measures changes in pressure. But in Lufia world, it measures changes in that mysterious, oft-discussed energy.
We've been so many so many episodes of the show. We've been going, when are they going to get to the energy? This isn't Lufia without them discussing people's energy. And this was the scene. This was the scene.
And then later, there's more discussion of energy.
Does that mean that Totino's just has a high barometric pressure?
I guess. I don't know. Lexus says since we're strong warriors, we should measure our energy with the chimograph. Guy has a huge reading, 5 times anything that Lexus has seen before. Salon has an even bigger reading, and Maxim's reading is off the charts. Lexus is like, okay, now you guys gotta tell me what your deal is. Guy says they're a bunch of crazies fighting the Sinistrals. Lexus asks to come with us. He says he can fight and will install the engine on a ship for us, so we can go anywhere. The party is skeptical, but he insists. So Lexus is going to join the party, which is a little wild because I'm like, oh man, we are like over halfway through this game, and we just lost a party member. Surely we're going to get Artea pretty soon.
Nope.
But we get a different party member. The party heads back to Aelin and asks Jayad to build a ship with the special wood. It needs to be made of the special wood to withstand the power of the engine. Jayad says he'll do it, and will bring the ship to Treadle for us when it's ready. We warp back to Treadle, where we encounter a young woman selling flowers. However, she's not well and faints. Maxim and Guy catch her. Her younger siblings run up and lead us back to their house. They get the young woman, whose name is Lifa, to bed. Salon says she's okay, she just needs to rest for a while. Lifa wakes up and says she has to go back to the mountain and get the beautiful flowers she saw there to support her family. And I'm like, how is a single flower going to support your family? I know you sell flowers, but it turns out she's going to plant and cultivate the flower and make lots of these beautiful flowers. And I'm like, okay, I feel stupid for not realizing that myself.
Once they said, I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense.
But that's not explained until after the dungeon.
I also
So
love
I
that
had a
this
lot of
entire
time.
detour it is going to turn out to be relevant to Lufia 1, weirdly enough. But otherwise, it's just like, we have time that we need to kill while ship get built. So let's go do this thing and help out this lady.
Yeah, last time we just stayed in the inn for 3 days. This time, let's do a side quest.
Yeah, so Lifa is in no state to go get the flowers, so Salon casts Drowsy on her so she'll sleep until she's well.
And there's a unique, like, overworld animation for her casting Drowsy that I was like, wait, what?
It's cool.
I like it.
I love how in this game sometimes characters just cast their battle spells in cutscenes. We've talked about this before in Lufia 1 and in this game, but I just really like it. And her siblings are like, whoa, what'd you do? What do you do to her? And she's like, yeah, I just cast Drowsy on her and it'll make her sleep until she's well. And I'm like, I love this.
Yeah, no, the diegesis is delightful.
The party, being JRPG heroes, insist upon going to get the flower for Lifa while they wait for Jayad. We go to the mountain dungeon, get a new dungeon item that's like a bludgeoning hookshot, get a new capsule monster which rules, beat a boss, and collect the huge, beautiful flower. We go back to Treadle and find Lifa awake and in a much better state. We present the flower to her, and she's like, oh my gosh, I'll buy this from you. I don't have much, but I'll give you all I have. But we give it to her for free because we're JRPG heroes and good people. She says she's going to cultivate it and grow more so she can sell them to support her family. The species doesn't have a name, so I forget who, but someone decides to name it Prifia. And we're like, oh, that's the name of Lufia's favorite flower in the first game. Where Batman begins in this flower.
We're really explaining where Jack's tattoo came from.
Oh my god. I never saw Solo, a Star Wars story, but doesn't it like have an explanation for literally everything, including why his name is Han Solo? And it's not just his parents named him Han Solo.
No.
I've not seen it. I haven't seen it, and I'm still aware of a number of them. Yeah,
so I've seen it, and overall, I enjoyed it as a movie starring Han Solo, and much less as a prequel to Han Solo's adventures. But all of the stuff where they try to answer questions is horrible. But the movie itself is fine. But so what happens is he has to get an ID card to be able to travel off his planet. So they're like, "What's your name?" He says, "Oh, it's Han." And they're like, "What's your last name?" And he's like, "I don't have one." And so they're like, "Okay, I guess you're going solo. Han Solo."
That's silly.
It's bad.
So bad. The thing I know that I'm very aware of. There's like a droid activist character whose vibes are impeccable and her design is the best, and I love her desperately. But she's in a movie where I'm very aware that the movie does not treat her very well, and that makes me both want to see and dread seeing it at the same time.
Yeah, it doesn't treat her well, but spoilers, she's the Millennium Falcon and is the reason why Han treats his ship better than anyone else and goes through the ends of the earth to find it in The Force Awakens. So it like makes it a little better, but it's not great.
He goes to the ends of the earth to find it, which wasn't a good idea because it's not on Earth.
It's not on Earth at all. He should have gone to the ends
not
of
even
the
in the
earth.
same galaxy. Anyway, we head to the port and find that Jayad has arrived with the ship and Lexus has already installed the engine. Jayad says he'll give us the ship for free if Lexus will let him use his lab, and we're like, hell yeah. Lexus says the ship is called the Excellion, which he says is a cool name, but I think is a silly name. We sail away into the vast unknown, and actually we can only sail in a tiny little area because the way to the ocean proper is blocked by a water gate controlled by the Aurelio Kingdom. We will surely have to do some sort of quest for them to get them to open it. Nearby is the Dankirk Kingdom, which has long been on the brink of war with Aurelio. However, Prince Leon of Aurelio has arrived in Dankirk to present the king and queen with the Ruby Angel, a great treasure of Aurelio with vaguely alluded to powers. In a weird localization error, the prince is called either Alex or Leon at different times in the original script, which confused me because when I went to watch the long play to take my notes, there I was like writing ahead because I actually remembered, and I was like, Prince Leon does this, Prince Leon does this, and then they're like, Prince Alex, and I'm like, what? But then later someone called him Prince Leon, and I was like, oh. And then I looked it up to confirm. That's what's going on. So there's all this stuff that I'm talking about. We find it out just by talking to people, but I didn't want to go through exactly how we figure it all out because that would be tedious.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so yeah, he's going to give the Ruby Angel to Dankirk, and this gesture of goodwill should bring about peace between the kingdoms. Of course, before the ceremony, the Ruby Angel goes missing. The party happens to be in the right place to hear about this and decides on a plan. They don't tell us, the players, what the plan is. We have to figure out what to do ourselves. What we do is remember that we know a great glass artisan and remember that he lived in Clemento and figure that we should get a fake Ruby Angel from him. We warp to Clemento and ask Jaffe about the Ruby Angel. He knows about it because his sensei was the one who made it. He doesn't use the word sensei, he uses the word teacher, but I don't know, I feel like sensei fits better.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
His math teacher was the one who made it, weirdly enough. He remembers it well and agrees to make a new one, but he doesn't have a giant ruby. Maxim says red glass will be fine. What's the worst that could happen? We bring the fake Ruby Angel to Dankirk and show it to Prince Leon. He can tell it's fake, but he decides to go along with the ceremony. What's the worst that could happen? We tag along for some reason as Prince Leon goes to the throne room to present the Ruby Angel. However, the Queen, who has been weirdly intent on getting the Ruby Angel this whole time, immediately notices that the Ruby Angel is a fake and threatens to have their armies invade Aurelio.
Normal thing to do. Very chill of her.
Yeah, and so maybe it wasn't a good idea to use a fake on when doing this ceremony of a gesture of goodwill. It's like, one, yeah, she isn't being cool, but also like that was a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
But Prince Thea of Dankirk enters and insists that Prince Leon came here with the real Ruby Angel, but it was stolen. The king calls for an attendant named James to gather the troops to search for the Ruby Angel. But James is missing and was seen heading towards the monster-infested dungeon to the north. Why? Who can say? This isn't exactly a lead on the Ruby Angel, but we can't resist a dungeon, so we head that way. This dungeon is real cool. In the depths of the dungeon, we find James handing over the Ruby Angel to some dude named Prince Klaus from some place called Graz. Apparently, James had been promised a position as a minister in the Graz kingdom for obtaining the Ruby Angel. Of course, we tell these gods we won't let them do these awful deeds. Prince Klaus sends some soldiers after us, and we kill them dead. Prince Klaus runs away and locks the door behind him, leaving James cornered. We collect the Ruby Angel and bring it back to Dankirk, along with James. The king puts James in jail, and the Ruby Angel is presented to the king, and an era of peace between Dankirk and Aurelia begins! Yay!
Yay.
This will be totally fine. No problems in the future at all.
I can't believe James betrayed us, that character we all know and love.
Mm-hmm.
That character whose name we surely learned before the betrayal. Also, we see a scene where Prince Leon and Princess Thea turn out to totally be in love, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, sure.
We head to Aurelio and ask them to open the water gate for us. Since we saved the day, they say yes. We sail into the vast unknown and stop at the first place we find, which is the kingdom of Farum. I wonder if this place has its own problem for us to solve. Turns out the kingdom is in a bit of a bind financially, and the princess is set to marry some rich asshole named Eric to fix all this. However, she's set the condition that whoever wants to marry her must retrieve a gem from the top of the monster-infested tower to the northeast, and I'm like, I didn't realize if you were a princess and your parents said you have to marry this guy for political reasons, you get to do that. But apparently you do. The party meets a soldier named Hans, who's heard of our exploits. He asks if we know about the guy who appeared in the Northeast Tower. We think, hey, that sounds like a Sinistral to us. The kingdom might be in danger. Hans says he'll go investigate the tower since he was asked to go there anyway by Eric's attendant so that he can bring the gem back from the tower. Eric's not even going to do it himself because he's a rich asshole.
Of course, he has to pay someone to do that. He's far too busy. He's far too busy playing opera music otherwise.
Yes. Hans agreed to do this because he thinks it will make the princess happy, and he's totally in love with the princess, it turns out. But she's a princess and he's a lowly soldier. It would never work! The party tells Hans not to mess with the Sinistrals, but he heads off for the tower anyway. If we snoop around some more, we find that Princess Jarrett set the condition assuming Eric would never meet it, because she's totally in love with Hans. But she's a princess and he's a lowly soldier. It would never work! We follow him to the tower and deal with some kind of annoying puzzles on our way up.
Yeah, some of these were a little rough where I had to use a guide. Also, we're hitting the part of the game where there's both in the overworld outside the tower and in the tower itself, there are assassin-type enemies are... I was like on the wiki I was on the guide looking for stuff for one of the puzzles, and it mentions, hey, watch out for these guys. They do have an insta-kill attack. And I was like, that's weird. I've thrashed these guys several times in fights. I haven't had that issue at all. And then after reading about it, it happened to be over and over and over again.
And also, they're extremely fast
annoying
on the map, so you can't really avoid them.
Yeah, no, I just eventually discovered, because I did just want to avoid any fight with them I possibly could. You have like the hook shot or other things that can stun them, and you just gotta angle them until as they're approaching where they'll stun. You can hit them and stun them, and then just keep stun locking them before you run away from them.
Yeah, it's still hard to do because I would try to be getting into position to stun lock them, but they were so fast they got to me anyway.
Yeah, I was literally, if I did get a fight, I had to say, after a while, I was like, I need to save state in the fight, because I kept getting one of my party members killed, and I'd be like, I would rather reset to my last save point than have to try to go through this dungeon with one dead party member, or go back to the town to go to a priest to revive someone, because I didn't have any other way to revive anybody.
Do you have the rally spell?
Wait, does rally bring someone back?
Yeah.
Okay, that was not clear to me.
The description just says, restores fighting energy or something, but yeah, it revives.
Okay, well, that's very good to know. Thank you for letting me know.
You're welcome. Yeah, if I recall correctly, the description is not clear on that. But anyway, at the top of the tower, we find Hans, paralyzed by some sort of energy. The party senses someone's here, and energy like Gades, but stronger. A voice speaks to them, impressed that the party can still move amidst these energy waves. A Sinistral appears. We know it's a Sinistral because it's a really big sprite. It's Aemon, the god of chaos. Guy asks where the other two Sinistrals are. Aemon says Douse and Aram will descend soon, but there's nothing we can do to stop them. Guy tries to attack Aemon, but is immediately blasted away into the wall. Aemon warps away, and I forget the excuse he makes, but he warps away. And the party checks on Guy. He's okay, but he says Aemon's power far surpasses that of Gades. Gades was just some scrub Sinistral. Hans is okay and leads us to a room where we find a small green rock, which is definitely not a gem, but Hans says this is what we're looking for. He collects the rock and leaves. We head back to Farum and see Hans presenting the rock to Eric. Eric is furious because Hans brought him some stupid pebble. He throws it back in his face. Eric's attendant says he obtained a beautiful sapphire they can give to the princess instead. Eric presents the sapphire to Princess Jarrett, who says the gem is nothing like this. Hans enters and gives her the stone. It turns out Jarrett and Hans are Osananajimis, which I wrote it there, but I realize probably not many people know that word because I only know it because of a Tim Rogers video, but it means childhood friends. He gave her the stone when they were kids. She says she still treasures it. Hans says he's still not worthy of her. Jarrett tells him not to keep her waiting too long. They both exit. They're in love. The king tells Eric to fuck off. Eric is furious, but he fucks off.
He's gonna go back to his opera house where he will play his music of the night.
Yes. A soldier barrels into the party who's been eavesdropping the whole time and says he has to tell the king that someone destroyed the village of Agurio, which is not the same as Aurelio. You might get confused if you haven't read the word Aurelio in some time and be like, Agurio? Aurelio? What? But no, different place. So another town has been destroyed. It must have been Aemon. After his fucking ass. Next week.
Indeed.
But for now, let's listen to some music and then talk about our memorable moments.
So you know how I said there's one specific NPC you need to talk to in Treadle in order to find out about the ship for sale by Lexus Shia?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I talked to every NPC in the town, but I missed him somehow, even though he's literally in the exact center of town.
He is, and he immediately walks you over and starts a cutscene.
Yeah, but I didn't talk to him. I just talked to some guy at the port who does mention that the boat is for sale, and I think even mentions Lexus. So I'm like, I guess I need to go speak with Lexus. So I go to Lexus's laboratory, but he just says, I'm busy, leave me alone. So I go back and I'm confused and I talk to people again, and I find Lifa's siblings, and they're like, oh, my sister went to the mountain, and someone else I think mentions that girl went to the mountain. So I'm like, oh, okay, I need to go to the mountain and find this girl that's missing. Nope, I went through the entire mountain dungeon and there was nothing at the end, and I was very confused. So I go back to town and I try talking to NPCs again, and then I finally talk to this NPC who, again, is right in the middle of town. I don't know how I missed talking to him. And then he starts me on the critical path.
Amazing.
So one of the memoms that I've got to for this week's thing is in that town when you're learning about Dr. Alexis Shia, there's a little boy who says, Dr. Alexis is a genius. I've never met a guy who could sink ships faster than he can.
Hasn't met Gades, I guess.
I have a memmom parentheses derogatory, which is, I can't remember the exact scene. I think it's the one with the soldiers at the end of the whole Ruby Angel plot thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the when it's like, who are you people? And Guy's like, oh, I'm gonna dramatically introduce the entire party. And it's like, oh, this is fun. And he goes through each of them and gives them grand titles. And then he gets to Salon, and he's just like, what, magic wife or something like that. And I was
Magical wife, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, you motherfucker.
And Salon is not happy.
She's not happy, and it's like, oh, it's a joke. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Gabe, you've not treated Salon well enough for me to treat that as a good joke to make.
Yeah, I found it funny, but also that's fair. There were several instances of Salon and Guy butting heads that I did find funny this week. There's the part where Guy says, we're just a bunch of crazies fighting the Sinistrals, and Salon is like, I'm not a crazy. I'm normal.
Yeah. No, that was good. I did like that. Also, I've gotten, I was telling Bernard ahead of the show, I've gotten 2 of my capsule monsters up for the 4th stage, which means that they're almost fully transformed. Unfortunately, when you hit the 4th stage, they say, I'm not hungry, and won't eat anything. And I was just looking, and apparently some of those fruits we've been getting are the specific things I need to get to the next form. So, I gotta look into which ones I need and where I can get them, I guess. But, yeah, no. One of them is the fire one, who's now just a full-size dragon, and I don't know if I need to make him his max form, because as he is absolutely indispensable in every battle. He is so good.
Nice.
He one of his, like, if he decides to do one of his special skills, he has a special skill, like, that's a single hit that, like, basically is guaranteed to take out any regular enemy.
Nice. I haven't gotten any capsule monsters past level 2 because I haven't wanted to spend the time warping to all the towns to find the items in the shops. But I did the new capsule monster we got at the mountain. I was looking at a guide because I was trying to figure out what am I supposed to do in this mountain dungeon because nothing's happening. Am I going to the right part of the dungeon? I was, but not at the right time. But it mentioned that capsule monster is really slow, which isn't great, but it never runs away, which is great. It can still die in battle, but it won't run away. So I've got it to level 2 and I've been using it, and it's good.
That's the radish one, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to level up and evolve my radish one. Then I'm curious to see what I get for doing that.
When you level him up to level 2, he's just like he turns into like a little guy.
Yeah, the other one I got to the 4th stage is the first one we get, Fumi, and every form up, it's just more bubbles, bigger, more bubbles.
Nice.
I think they're bubbles. I don't actually know, but it looks like bubbles to me.
It's just sort of a pile.
It's just a pile of stuff.
Just some sort of dust bunny.
Indeed. But yeah, no, this is a fun section. Again, the dungeons in this game are good. The puzzles in that last section were at times frustrating. I think the biggest one for me was when you get to you're just supposed to pick up this grate and fall down the thing. And I was like, game, what told me I could pick up this grate? When have I been able to do this?
Luckily for me, I just immediately intuited that, but I can totally see not immediately intuiting that. I just got lucky.
Also, I like that we got this time a item called a hammer to be using in these sections.
It's not a hammer.
It is not. It's a flail. I love it. It's really fun, but it's not a hammer.
Yeah, like I said, it's like a hook shot, but it has a big spiky ball on the end, and you can use it to push things out of reach.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And you can also use it to stun enemies, which is nice. There was one part in the dungeon where I got mad because there's a wall that is clearly bombable, but you have to bomb it 3 times for some reason.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And in the game's defense, the graphics do change a little each time you bomb it, but it still confused me. I don't know why. I guess my bombs suck. Yeah, I enjoyed the speak. I enjoyed Lexus. He's funny.
He's funny. I appreciate that one of the items he gets as his own personal weapons are very weird. He has his own category that he gets to use, and in one of the dungeons you can pick up a music box for him, which hits all.
Yes, it's not very strong, but it hits all, which is nice.
Yeah, and then after that you get a stun gun, which has a special move associated with it that can paralyze enemies. I'm like, this is neat.
That. Sam, how far did you get?
I got most of the way through the flower dungeon, which, as you were talking, I realized I was not supposed to be there yet.
Wouldn't be Lufia without at least one of us going to the dungeon at the wrong time.
Right?
Yeah.
I wonder if that's a common experience or if we're silly.
I don't know.
I mean, I know that I'm silly. I don't need any evidence for it.
I wonder if the Ruby Angel is going to become important at some point because there were
I was wondering that too.
There were weird allusions to it having powers, but that never came up.
It's got some One Ring shit going on.
Yeah, and the Queen was being real weird about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if that's gonna come back and be relevant.
I would anticipate it coming back, but I also think that if it doesn't come back and that's just a weird thing happening in this world that has nothing to do with our quest that we briefly intersected with, I think that would be fun and I'd be okay with that.
When they said it was stolen, I 100% expected it to be those thieves that I just call Team Rocket in my brain, that they were like, oh, those guys are totally going to come back.
Well, I'm fairly sure. I thought I ran into them. They're there. They're at the castle. I could be I could be wrong, and I just am mistaking a set of sprites for another set of sprites. There's people outside the castle you can go talk to, and there's a pair of them with unique sprites. You go talk to them, and they're like, huh? Oh, we just care about crowns. What do you
I
mean
didn't
this thing
get
got
that.
stolen? We didn't get that. Yeah, no, I think it's them, and they're just like, yeah, no, they did. They're like, oh no, we only steal crown shaped objects. We didn't steal this thing. We didn't even know it was around.
Huh. I didn't see them, or there was
Listeners,
something
please
else you have
correct
to do to
me.
get them to show up.
I don't know, but they were there for me.
Yeah, Googling Lufia II Ruby icon, everything is just talking about the thing we did this week. So I don't think it actually comes up again.
Delightful.
I am so glad that walkthroughs exist so that I knew to
Same.
go get Jaffe to get the glass icon, because oh boy, I would not have remembered. I would not have. I mean, I remembered, but I didn't think about it, and I wouldn't have thought to go get him to make a fake one. So I'm glad a walkthrough could tell me to do that, because I had no idea what to do.
Yeah, it took me a little bit.
I am glad that there are a portion of cheat codes that will change your stats instead of having to be a thing, like instead of being invulnerable, it will like set your stats to max level, because we're playing on a ROM hack which adjusts things in battles, so the things aren't in the right spot. So if I turned on any of the like instant win battles or no battles on the overworld or anything like that while I was trying to catch up this morning, my graphics would go to shit because everything would be in the wrong spot. So I did one that gave you like infinity experience points after winning one battle. So I did that, and then sat through a bajillion level ups, just holding down speed and turbo for like, while speed and turbo were held down, it was still like 10 minutes of just level up, strength up, blah 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 for everybody. Because then I could then turn off all of the cheat codes and be able to play it, because my stats would just be changed now, and not have to play with any of them always on. Because yeah, it was very horrible. I do not recommend trying to do any if you're playing the original one. There are a lot of really cool like cheat codes. Like there's one where if you hit equip strongest, it will put your stats bonuses from your weapons onto your stats. So you just keep hitting equip strongest and you get super strong. And there's a lot of cool stuff like that, but it doesn't work with the ROM hack.
I sure think it would be funny if we got into a forced loss battle and you couldn't lose because you cheated. I can't imagine that ever happening.
Definitely not.
Yeah, that's why when I started the day, the one that bugged it out the least was just instant win battles, and then I got up to a Idura fight. I'm like, am I supposed to lose one of these? I don't remember. Let me turn this off and get a different set of cheat codes.
I forget, were you able to actually finish Skies of Arcadia, or were you actually stopped in your tracks there by that problem?
I think I managed to. I managed to get around it. I don't remember, but I remember beating the game. So
okay,
I did something.
Yeah, yeah. Lufia rules.
It really does. Yeah, I can't wait to give this guy some of my money in a couple of weeks for Rune Factory 6, because that's where the Lufia team moved on to, is they have all been making the Rune Factories. So
I'm maybe wrong. I feel like I heard that Rune Factory 6 is a different team than the previous Rune Factories.
Let me look.
Let's see. The Rune Factory series, it says developed 2006 to 2013 by Neverland and developed by Hakama from 2019 to present. I don't know if Hakama has the old Neverland team as part of it, but I don't know. Who can say? It's hard to know who makes video games sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially when they're Nintendo games for some reason.
Yeah. But yeah. I had a dream last night that I got my Switch 2 already, and I had all of these games that I want for the Switch 2, but I just was like a baby, just distracted and excited about taking the Joy-Con off and putting it back on. And that was the entire dream. The only thing I did was take my Joy-Con on and off.
You didn't even play Switch 2 Welcome Tour, available for $10?
I didn't turn on a single thing. It was just me playing with the Joy-Con. Anywho, let's talk more about Switch 2 and stuff in the bonus show. But for now, that will do it for the week. If you like what you heard today, you can head on over to www.rpgbook.club, or you can donate to help support us. If you do, you will get some extra benefits. At $1 a month, the Gadabout tier gets access to our bonus feed, where we have after shows for every episode, as well as bonus seasons of the show that are backer only. At $5 a month, the Warrior tier gets the above, but I also say their names at the end of every episode, a little like this. Shoutouts to Frost's Terror, Dragon Slayer 19, Kildronis, Freddy Rodriguez, Aaron524, and Jfro Prime. And then at $20 a month, the Luminary tier gets all of the above, plus a 1-sentence shoutout to whatever it is they're passionate about. Shoutouts to El Tantivy, who wants you to check out Aftermath.site, a worker-owned, reader-supported news site covering video games, the internet, and the cultures that surround them. Shoutouts to Vimke, who says, Gideon tossed her empty porridge bag over the side of the tier and sat down with her sword over her knees, cleaning it with a bit of rag. 40 minutes to go. And shoutouts to It's Claire Time, who says, for you TTRPG nerds, check out Fabula Ultima. I'm not affiliated with the game, I just think it's neat. For RPG Book Club, I've been Sam.
I'm Bernard.
And I'm Trish.
Toodaloo, folks.
Bye-bye.